Honestly, I was going to do the bit where I start off with the theme songs, but I can't even think of this one. Wait, is this one just Saturday, 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 Saturday? Yeah, it is. Alright, whatever. Collision, January 18th. If you're watching the podcast, by the way, watch the podcast. If you're watching the podcast, yeah, this is the second Collision review. So what, punk? I'm sorry, I don't mean that. I usually it'll only have one Collision review, but I figured this will catch us up chronologically to have it Wednesday and Friday be the same week. Or sorry, Wednesday and Saturday. I'm gonna keep on doing this. I don't know why Rampage is on my mind, but you get what I'm saying. It's on the same week now after this one, so there we go. We'll do that going ahead. Show starts off with everybody talking about beating their opponent. I'm not gonna break these down anymore just because they're so freaking repetitive. And then we start off the show for some reason with the Texas Deathmatch between Hanger and CD. I figure that should be the main event, but you know what? Who am I? Who am I, honestly? Who am I? Help! Alright. This match is gory and barbed wire filled. In a weird twist of events, Hangman sets up chairs and he doesn't go through them, breaking the logic of if you set it up, you have to go through it. He puts Christopher Daniels through him. He threw Christopher Daniels headfirst into a chair in the corner, and he even stomps him through a table that he put up. I mean, this is very much so a one-sided fight. Hangman also pulls out a board with barbed wire. I can tell you from just how easy this wire is cutting, everybody open, this has to not be gimmicked wired. Thankfully, Christopher Daniels ends up reversing a move off of the top, and Uranagi's Hangman back first through that board. Hangman ends up pulling out more barbed wire, just like strands of barbed wire, and then takes a cheap shot on him with them. He tries to hit him with a buckshot, but that gets reversed into a flatliner, which gets reversed into a Koji clutch. Unfortunately, Hangman had the wire in his hand, so he just stabbed it in his forehead to get out of the hold. Christopher Daniels hits the best moonsault ever, and then pulls out a barbed wire table piece, and then hits the BME on that, but the barbed wire is facing Hanger. This ends up hyping up Hangman for some reason, who spikes him onto a chair, and then hits Deadeye onto the same chair. For some reason, that couldn't end the match, so Hanger had to hit a buckshot lariat to the back of his neck to get the 10 count knockout. By the way, that's the only way you win death matches is with a 10 count. Hangman goes to leave, and then he comes back to the ring and hits Christopher Daniels with the Angel's Wing just to get some more heat, as if he hasn't got enough already, and that's how he leaves. Last thing we see of Christopher Daniels, presumably, was him being checked on as he is a bloody mess. We then come back from ad where Tony Schiavone is interviewing the rookie Tony Storm. They're in the ring. She talks about her winning last week, and he wanted to ask her about it. She talks about how she's going to the building she saw her first show to battle for the title, and how she's hyped for it. She brings up Mariah May and says that she hasn't introduced herself to her yet, but next week it's finally time that she introduces herself. Tony Schiavone tries to tell her that she's lost her memory, but she plays him off, and we just ended at that. We get a replay of the Hurt Syndicate's win. They then play a pre-recording where they claim that they're the number one contenders because they won, and they want Private Party to put their titles on the line. We then get the Undisputed Kingdom against Shane Taylor Promotions, which I swear I've seen this match play out before. Anyway, the UK ends up winning, bruv, which makes Shane Taylor mad, and he jumps UK single-handedly. He talks trash to Daddy Magic, who's on commentary, and he ain't having any of that, which cues Danny Garcia to come out too to help him beat him up. Danny and the UK take him out, and Shane Taylor retreats. The UK looks at the title, specifically Adam Cole, looks at his title, the TNT Championship. There we go. I was trying to remember that name. And Daniel Garcia realizes this, so he ends up taunting him with the title to end that segment. They show Will and Kenny getting jumped from Dynamite, and then Will Ospreay cuts a promo saying that he was only there to get his hands on Fletcher, Between him and Kenny, they need to chat next week on Dynamite, which is what they will do. We then have a match between the Murder Machines versus Top Flight. For some reason, this is an actual fight instead of a one-sided fight, but everybody ended up dying at the hands of the Murder Machines anyway, so no harm, no foul. As Top Flight tries to get up, Action Andrade tries to come to the ring, which gets their attention, and Lilo Rush ends up jumping them from behind. He frog splashes on one of them, then grabs his coat that he took off to taunt as he ends that segment. Lexi then interviews the Learning Tree, specifically Chris Jericho this time backstage. She asks him about Mox not being there, even though he said that he could trust him. Jericho tries not to instigate that, but then reminds the crowd of their history and says that maybe they should show Mox how much he can trust them before the match. When asked what that means, he brushes off Alexi and walks away. We then have an interview with Daniel Garcia that gets cut off by the UK, with Cole saying that they appreciate his help and it's a shame that they don't have a third man, but Garcia says that they're going to call in the new father to bring in the third man for next week. After that, Max comes out and he tries to clear the air about the Acclaimed with Bowens. He tries to act like he was going to apologize to him, and calls him out. And then he calls himself the best wrestler alive. Bowens then goes off on him, saying that he's a piece of shit. He continues to go at him, calling him selfish, and that could have been a world champion at any time. Max tries to back this up and says that something about Billy Gunn, which causes him to come out. It's the return of Daddy Ass. He asks what's wrong with the two of them, and Max immediately goes after him for making the claim about him and not about Max and Bowens. He hypes up their team for a little bit, then goes after him and pokes him until he corners him, and Max says that Bowens has two choices, either Max or Billy. He teases choosing Max, but then he flips him off. This makes Max mad, so he said that the Acclaimed are done, and it's everybody's fault except for his. This makes me hurt, but it's okay. The reunion way later down the road of the two of them is going to be massive. Billy and Bowens scissor for one last time, and that's how we end that segment. We then go to an interview with Swerve talking about his match with Ricochet. He cuts off Renee and says that this game between Ricochet and him will end before then. Oh, they had a match at the next pay-per-view, and that's what he was saying. We then have Ishii versus Kazuchika Okada, where Kazuchika, I don't know what I just said, ends up winning by cheating and then hits a Rainmaker to win. We then get a hype package for GOA, where they will be there next week. After that, we get Dustin Rhodes versus Adam Priest, where obviously Dustin Rhodes wins because I think Adam Priest is an enhancement talent. I'm not sure though. After that, we get a hype package where the Hounds now, instead of the House of Black, they're told to do their own thing over the past couple of weeks. We then get Julia Hart versus Harley Cameron, who was blinded by the mist last week and is wearing glasses, but you know what? She takes them off immediately, so it doesn't even matter. Harley ends up losing with the stretch jacket being applied to her, and I think she taps out. Then they show Samoa Joe's return on last Dynamite, and they plug Dynamite. That gets cut off by Hobbs being beaten down backstage with a bat to his injured knee. So he was supposed to be in the main event, but now we're going to get the main event of Rated FTR against the, let's see here, Death Riders, Learning Tree, the Death Tree. Let's go with that. That kind of sounds sick. I think during the match they tried to bag Cope, like put the plastic bag over him, but FTR ends up saving him from that. Anyway, at the end of the match, Hobbs hobbles back to the ring for the big pop, clears everybody, spinebusters the Bad Apple, and that's how he wins. They plug Dynamite as the good guys celebrate to end the show. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of tired of this whole Death Riders FTR thing. Death Riders Rated FTR thing, but this one was so good, I just I ignored for a whole week about how much that irritated me.